Welcome back to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show. How are you? How have you been? We so enjoy getting your emails. Write to us at kpcsfanmail@gmail.com. I'm going to read a couple today. And Sammy, Jamie.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
So well.
Jamie's still recovering from Halloween.
Oh, is that what time it is?
Uh-huh.
I wonder what my costume was this year.
How about that World Series?
Yes.
I can't believe the one over the...
Nice.
Yep.
We're coming to you live from the West Side Comedy Theater, the west side of Los Angeles, California. And this is where you'll see stand-up, sketch, improv. It's all happening here. Check out westsidecomedy.com for their calendar. I want to thank the folks who run and operate this damn place for letting us horn in on a Sunday afternoon yet again. Previous guests, you're wondering. All right, reasons to tune in on the YouTube or Earwolf. Christopher Guest, Lauren Graham, Billy Bob Thornton, Brian Cranston, J.K. Simmons, Craig Ferguson, Michaela Watkins, the only way I can say her name, and of course Ricky Gervais, a very special guest quite recently, which you're still recovering from.
I still can't believe he showed up.
Yeah, well, I enjoyed how he just made fun nonstop of me and this place.
Yep.
Like it just was.
It was also, you guys shared a lot of cat photos.
We did share a lot of cat
there's a lot
photos.
of that.
Well, Ollie, his Siamese, is seemingly more important than his own better half. The author, Jane Fallon, who he constantly takes photos of her. If you don't follow him on Twitter, he'll take photos, like they'll be on vacation somewhere, and she'll just be sitting in an outside area of the hotel, and the composition of the photo is she's all by herself, there's nothing around, and the caption will be, Jane's found some new friends. She's just sitting there all by herself reading a book. I mean, I've seen 30 of those tweets from different parts of the world. Yeah, Jane and her new friends. How's everything else with you two? Anything to report?
So much has changed.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right?
Such a different person than I was during the summer.
I lost weight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was...
You did. Let's not forget that.
I gained some weight.
Uh-huh.
Wow. What else?
My haircut's the same.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you playing along. Really.
I was looking at it as like a vision board of like, what do I, my like goals I want to accomplish by then. I'm like, I lost weight.
There you go. Yeah. I like it. Let's get to our first guest. You know, I threatened to read an email, so I'll just read one quickly. I tried to rip them up this morning, thinking I'm not going to read these. Ross Whitman. Greetings, Kevin and company. Been particularly enjoying the guest since you got the YouTube channel working.
It was down for a while, remember?
Nope. Oh, I took it off YouTube.
Yeah.
For a while. Yeah, that was my doing. Always glad to hear from the likes of guests like Craig Ferguson and Paul Reiser. It was rather recently. However, please remind our Sam that while the original book, written by an army surgeon about his time in Korea, may have been a mostly fond look back at the movie MASH was very obviously about Vietnam. Altman made absolutely no bones about the fact that he used the setting for a thinly veiled diatribe about our presence in Southeast Asia, not Korea. Getting out of your face now, Ross Whitman.
Well, Ross, if I had even the vaguest idea of what you were talking about.
There must have been a moment recently where we talked about MASH and you.
It's recent to Ross. To you and me, it's ancient fucking history. But sorry, Ross. I clearly was only referring to the TV series and not the Robert Altman classic.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Yep.
Also,
that's completely
it being October now, how long ago was this?
Yeah, seriously.
Wow. Just going to drive that one into the ground, huh? All right. Very well. Let's get to our first guest then.
Please.
Write to us again at kpcsfanmail@gmail.com. Let's see if we can't make fun of you too. My first guest today, very exciting, Jenna Fischer. We've tried for a welcome.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. Hello.
I hope you're enjoying your somewhat still cold beverage. This is a wonderful Sunday. Thank you for driving to the other side of Los Angeles.
You're welcome.
To be with us.
My pleasure.
Did you come from an outing with the family? Was there a thing, a breakfast or something?
No.
No, not at all.
Sunday mornings are at home.
Okay.
Get the New York Times delivered. The Sunday New York Times.
Whoa.
It's a big, exciting thing.
Whoa. Whoa, does
Yep.
it come like in a parcel and a
It comes in a
box?
blue bag.
Yes, it does.
A blue bag in the driveway. Very
Sure.
old-fashioned. I mean, as a kid, I got the paper. We got the paper every day,
Yes.
and it was rolled up in like a yellow bag.
Sometimes you'd
In
hear
St.
it
Louis,
hit the
Missouri.
door.
You hear it, yeah. And so no, we get the Sunday New York Times. It's very exciting, and then we turn on cartoons for the kids. And Sunday mornings, one of us goes to Starbucks. We get like just a delicious latte and the newspaper, and then we chill out at home
Take it easy.
a little bit. I know, right?
Yeah.
Why are we rushing around?
Yeah.
No, Sunday's chill out day.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you go cover to cover? It's hard to do. It's a lot of hours.
It is. It's hard to do also with little kids because their attention span, even for a treat like cartoons, is not long. So I
Right.
got through 2 stories in the first section today. And then I'll get to other things later. I keep it around
the
for the
rest
week.
of the
I
week.
keep it around for the week.
Come on.
You know, here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What cartoons were you watching at their age?
Oh, at their age, a lot of the Bugs Bunny ones.
Sure.
You know, like I love
Looney
that.
Tunes.
Looney Tunes, yeah, exactly. Some Roadrunner, and then like the Justice League with the, you know, Wonder Woman and the Wonder Twins.
Sure.
Powers activate. You know, I am water. I am a mouse.
It stayed with you.
Yeah.
That's the good news.
I'm good at impressions too. I can do more if you want.
You know, I say we
I'll get to them.
Let's parcel them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to impress people too soon.
Well, not right away.
Right. It's overwhelming.
I want to segue easily from your wonderful impersonation
Thank you.
of
Thank you.
the cartoons
Yes.
to working with the icon Clint Eastwood on the film 1517 to Paris.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Crazy.
Shooting in Paris.
Shot one day in Paris.
Sure.
Okay, so
The rest at Warner Brothers?
3 weeks in Atlanta.
Of course.
One day in LA that I didn't do. Of course, the city I live in, they didn't need me. And then they shot in Venice and Paris and Brussels, but my character has one line in Paris. So they had to fly me all the way
Thankfully-
to Paris to say one line.
Thankfully, it was an exterior where they had no choice but to fly you in.
Correct.
Good.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So free trip to Paris to work with Clint Eastwood. Incredible.
Did you start the whole job in Paris or Atlanta?
Ended in Paris.
Oh,
Ended in Paris, yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, you want to end everything, end your life in Paris. I mean,
Well-
if you can retire in Paris
Yeah.
and die in Paris,
Right.
in your sleep peacefully.
There we go.
There you go.
She was very specific towards the end, although starting with end your life in Paris.
I wanted to make sure I was not suggesting.
She's a big Jim Morrison fan.
Can we put that on a reel, on a clip? Just put that on YouTube. Jenna Fischer
that's
looking at
my
a camera
teaser.
and saying,
That's my
end
teaser.
your life in Paris.
Yeah.
That's right, Jim Morrison fan. So we've all heard such tales about Mr. 1, 2 takes tops.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving. Let's keep it simple, stupid, and all of that.
Yeah.
What was your experience?
It was even better than I could have ever dreamed of. So here's the thing, and to give people some perspective who may not be in the entertainment industry, like usually when you're an actor, you have to be there around 6 a.m. Be there at 6 a.m. So you might be waking up at 4:30 and then driving, and you get there at 6 a.m. The crew gets there around 7:30, and then you work until like 8 or 9. So like really long days, a lot of waiting around. You're wondering, why am I not acting right now? Like a lot of lighting of things.
A lot of time sitting around.
A lot of time sitting around waiting to perform, and just really long, weird days. So Clint Eastwood, his crew arrives at 10 a.m. Now, actors always have to come before the crew because you have to put on your makeup and your costume, and they have to get you ready. So you have your get ready time.
The shooting crew, the makeup crew clearly had to arrive earlier
That's
than
right.
you. Sure.
Actors arrive at 8 a.m.
Right.
Makeup crew arrives 15 minutes prior to actors. So like the earliest someone's there is maybe 7:30, like unlocking doors and turning on lights, right? But the
Already
crew,
civil.
Already civil.
Yeah.
Crew arrives at 10. So in any workday, the union rules are you have to break for lunch 6 hours after the crew arrives. So on Clint Eastwood movies, 4 o'clock is lunch because the crew got there at 10. 4 o'clock is lunch. We're done by lunch every day. Or you take a 1 hour penalty, 1 hour meal penalty, you pay everybody a little extra to stay till 5. Done. So you're done, you go have a nice meal, and you go home. That's it. That's the end of your day, every day.
I've never heard that
It's
part.
true.
Oh
I
my.
know. It's when you tell another actor, it sounds like lore. It sounds like an urban legend.
Yes.
I've experienced. I'm here to continue the message, the word. I'm passing on the word of Clint Eastwood.
How many days was the shoot for the whole movie? Do you know?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was told he consistently comes in under budget.
Yeah.
On time, under budget, sometimes ahead of schedule. He edits while he goes.
Right.
They're telling me that this movie might come out as early as the end of this year.
That's ridiculous. Sammy, you had a question.
I was going to say, I mean, but you sort of answered it. Like, I worry that once Clint Eastwood stops making films, there won't be any more sets like that. Because I feel like he's the only guy who can get away with that.
Sidney
know.
Lumet did it, of course. He's been gone for many years. It's an old
He
school
needs
way.
to take on an apprentice and like just keep this going.
Well, he uses the same crew all the time.
Yeah.
So it's literally the same people: the wardrobe person, the camera guys, the cinematographer, AD. And I said to the AD, the assistant director, that's the person who does all the scheduling, I was like, will you please write a handbook of what you've learned? Like, how are you doing it?
Right.
And I asked the cinematographer, but I did walk into a scene and there were like 3 lights. There was just like a little light box just right at my face as I'm chopping some onions. And then there was like a couple lights there and a light here. And I'm like, there's very much fewer lights.
Yeah.
He goes, you don't need as many lights as you think. Like, great.
Yeah.
Tell everyone else.
Sometimes I feel like a cinematographer will create a foundation of light, a backdrop of light, and that takes 3 hours. And then the specific light for the actual people in the scene takes 14 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of steady cam on this film. That tends to move things more quickly.
Absolutely.
Is this interesting to anyone except
Absolutely.
us? Is this interesting?
A lot of our fans,
I'm
like-
fascinated by it because after having been on a lot of sets and doing a lot of the waiting,
Yeah.
it's
You're looking for time to sit down on a Clint Eastwood movie.
you are a little bit. There's no.
Yeah.
I mean, I brought a book to set.
Like when they said turning around, which is supposed to be the longest lighting change,
Yeah.
did that take
No, 10 minutes.
on a big turnaround? We're turning the room around. sort
No,
of
they
thing.
would. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they're doing it.
Right.
And because there were people and things over there, we had to move in order to turn the camera around so you didn't see them in the other angle, and yet I don't know. They disappeared.
I feel like if you tell a crew, hey, would you like to come in at 10 and go home at 5? You just have to work harder and faster than you've worked normally, that everyone would be on board.
You know, for me, it was really, really great because
Yeah.
there were things, this movie had to shoot in Atlanta and my family lives in LA. And a lot of times I don't take work if it's out of town because I don't like to be away from my kids. And so they were able to have me work 2 or 3 days in a row each week and I could fly home for long weekends. But better than that, because it was a Clint Eastwood movie, I was done at 5 and I was on like an 8 o'clock flight that same day. So I could work and fly out. On other movies, you can't do that. You don't get done till 9 or 10 at night. You have to wait till the next morning to fly or something. So it was like especially meaningful to me that he had that schedule.
Yeah. And how was he
Amazing.
in particular?
Funny guy.
Funny I don't see coming.
Funny guy.
In what way?
Bits. Doing bits.
What are you talking about?
Like doing
Give me one.
Okay. Like, great sense of humor. Like a great sense of humor. So, gosh, I don't know if I can give away part of the. I try to think of a bit we can do where I don't give away something because that's one thing they're like super secretive about, like the plot or like, no pictures on set, no sharing on social media, nothing.
So is he doing bits with you as an actress about the character or bits?
Sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. Like if there's a scene where I have to get upset or something, then he'll come out and like do a bit with me about having been upset. Like I don't know.
Like shtick?
Shtick, yeah, like shtick. Like funny. But like legitimately funny. And by the way, he's still very handsome. Because he's older and you're like, I don't know, is he still gonna be super handsome? And he is. And so like, this man, I don't know how many phone numbers he's gotten in his life from women, but the answer is a lot because he is funny and charismatic and charming and handsome and also very nice. So
Right.
like,
So if you just
Thousands of numbers, I'm certain.
if you could just take away him talking to the empty chair at the Republican convention,
I think it was a bit. I'm telling you, he does bits.
I feel much better about it.
He's really funny.
Yeah.
Like that, I'd have to say that was the thing that surprised me the most. I think I expected him to maybe
I've
just
never
be
heard-
quieter or something because a lot of
Right.
the roles he plays are
He acted quietly.
more subdued. Yeah. But
Even when he was a badass, he was quiet.
yeah, right? But no, he's like far more like outgoing and friendly and like very easy to relate to.
So this was one of the best jobs ever.
One of the best jobs ever.
Yeah, even though you can't talk about it.
A highlight. Even though I can't say any details about it specifically.
Right. I mean, I read a little bit about it online when putting together
Yes.
some of my questions.
I mean, what it's about, I can talk about, which is just that it is about, the terrorist attack that happened on the train between, on the train to Paris, the
Right.
1517 to Paris. There were 3 Americans on that train who stopped a terrorist attack by basically beating the terrorist with their bare hands in this incredibly heroic event that I had read about in the papers, but when I got hired to do the movie, I really read about, and I am stunned by their story. And so I cried when I read the script
Sure.
and got goosebumps, and it's really amazing. And
When you first read about it in the paper,
yes,
was it the paper that came in the blue bag?
I wasn't getting the blue bag paper yet
Aha.
back then.
Wow.
Now I get the blue bag paper.
How long ago did 15 to 17 to Paris happen?
That was
Which, for the record, is the 317 to Paris.
for us Americans.
Well, I have to be the ugly American, don't I?
How long ago did it happen? It happened only about 3 or 4 years ago.
Right, that's my thinking.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I had you and the blue bag New York Times going on for a very long time, but apparently it's quite new.
It is. Well, my daughter's only 3, and there's no way that 3 or 4 years ago we could get a New York Times. That she's not watching. They don't concentrate on cartoons until.
So she's finally of the age where she can be captivated,
Correct.
as you were, by
Wonder Twins activating.
And what is
Exactly.
she watching, I should have asked?
Oh, they like Dora the Explorer.
Sure, still a hit.
Dora, big hit. What else do they watch?
Elena of Eleanor, whatever that one is.
Yeah, that's right, Sam, thanks.
That's, yeah.
I know that one's big with the kids.
I don't know what you're talking
Someone of Eleanor.
That's a Disney
it's a thing.
Channel.
It's a Disney Channel one.
Oh, yeah. We're not.
Thanks, Jane.
We don't do Disney Channel yet. Disney
Oh,
Channel's
okay.
for slightly older kids.
I see.
What is it?
Elena of Avalon.
Avalon.
Look
I
forward
don't
to
think
Elena
we're
of
there.
Avalon.
I don't think we're there yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doc McStuffins.
That's
you
a
know,
Disney Channel.
These things. That's a Disney Channel. Doc McStuffins is Disney Channel.
There's
Have-
a sassy hippo in there.
Has she been to
That's all I know.
Disneyland?
Yes, we went to Disneyland this year for the first time.
And how did that go?
Disneyland is magical. It truly is.
I'm not going to find any
it is
arguments here.
Happy and magical, and we had the best day. It was incredible. Everything was incredible. That parade, the electrical light parade is great. The fireworks are great. Yes, I did just get a job with Disney ABC, but that's not why I'm saying this. It really is awesome.
The fact
really
that we were backdoored onto every single attraction.
That's right.
Yes, as a member of the Disney
Yes,
ABC
they got me free tickets because I work for them, but this is not a paid
Did you get a
ad.
tour guide?
Yes, I got a tour guide.
I can't believe we had to beat that out of you. All right. It is a magical place. You are 100% correct. Speaking of magical places,
Yes.
let's go back for a moment to born in Fort Wayne, but raised in St. Louis, Missouri.
Correct.
Or Missouri.
Missouri, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're from St. Louis,
Mizzou.
you call it Missouri.
Missouri.
But if you're outside of St. Louis, you would say Missouri.
Missouri.
Yeah. Slightly different accents
Absolutely.
throughout Missouri.
And you were in St. Louis.
I was in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During the years of.
During the years of 76 to 96.
I meant
Yeah.
your years, but okay.
What?
We don't want to do the math on how old
Oh, how old?
you were.
I
Don't give it
was
away now.
2
There we go.
to
Uh-huh. Through
22.
22. Yeah. So you went to all your schooling.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Went to the public school that my neighborhood fed into.
Yeah.
But then for high school, I went to a private Catholic girls' school.
I've got a Catholic, all-girls
Yeah.
Catholic high school.
Great. Best thing I ever did. Changed my life.
In what ways?
I became a feminist.
Great.
But more than that, I just became like an empowered, pioneering woman.
Did you learn from nuns?
Yes, the Sisters of Loretto were the founders of my school. Some of my teachers were nuns, but most of my teachers were not. But, it was just, I remember sitting in my class freshman year in homeroom, and they made an announcement that we were going to have student government elections. And coming up, we were taking nominations for student government for all the positions. And I sat there and I thought, oh my gosh, a girl is going to be president of the class because it's all we've got.
Yes.
So a girl is going to be president and vice president and secretary and treasurer.
Right.
And the schools I'd gone to before, at my junior high, a girl was never president of the class. She could be a vice president or secretary, but boys were always president and treasurer. They made the decisions and handled the money.
You mean as it was intended?
Sorry? Yes. But so
Thanks. A little chuckle from the crow's nest.
So anyway,
Yeah.
that was a big, like a light bulb went off for me.
Sure.
And also at my school, being smart was a virtue. It was a competition. Who could know more? Who could be more socially aware? Who could be more socially active? Who could come up with great ideas, form neat groups. Like this was like what you wanted to do at my school because during the day there were just no distractions and you wore a uniform, so it didn't matter what you looked like and it didn't matter what the boys thought you looked like. And so it just wasn't part of my conversation in my most formative years.
Yeah.
It was really special, and then after school, when school is over, you roll up your skirt, so it's short, and you wave to the cute public school boys, and you go to McDonald's and eat fries, and you still get all that, you know? But it was like, when you went to school, it was just so different than I know what I would have fed into if I just sort of stayed with the public school system that I had been feeding into, where I was very unhappy. But I couldn't explain why I was unhappy, Like I wasn't mad about girls not being president of my class until I got woke at my all-girls school.
Yeah. And are you giving consideration already for the 3-year-old in terms of how social media and the cell phone has created a utterly horrifying different experience?
It truly terrifies me. It truly terrifies me for both my kids.
Yeah.
And the thing that really scares me the most, when I was a kid, you would you find a dirty magazine, or like, I remember going around my school, like someone brought a pamphlet, their parents had gone to Hawaii, and there were like some naked boobs on it, like a hula girl without a top, or like you bring in like a National Geographic or something, there's boobs, These were like salacious materials from when I was a kid. And just the way you heard things was like a lot of word of mouth, or like dad's Playboy, And nowadays it's like the internet, like you can see like
the most
graphic, unnerving things so easily, and I just don't want either of my kids to be like introduced to sex with those images.
Right.
And so it bums me out, and I don't know how to control it, and I'm not there yet, but I know it's a big discussion with parents in the upper grades. I worry about sexting, I worry about pictures, and I don't know.
Yeah. Because
the kids, they don't seem to care. Like it's like, I don't know. I don't know. It causes me a lot of anxiety.
We happen to have someone who only graduated a little more than a year ago from high school here, and our makeup artist, Jaden Fox. Please tell our guests there's nothing to worry about.
Because I was my advice.
Wow, we got a little honesty. That was a non-committal.
There's a little Amish community about 80 miles northeast of LA.
I'm in.
I mean, honestly, a lot of people aren't that bad with it. Like a lot of my friends. I mean, we never sent pictures and never were doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like when we were younger in high school.
The question seems to be, how do you get them to lean towards the right circle of friends, which is always the case.
That's
for
right.
any
and
parent.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And I think we're always thinking, I mean, when like, I feel like back in the days of like Little House on the Prairie, they'd be like, stop reading those books and get out to the field, you know? And then now we're like, stop watching that TV and read some books. And then it's like, you know, get off your phone and watch a film. You know, I mean, it's like the thing that was evil is now the thing that you should be doing. Yeah. So I try to keep that perspective.
Get away from the GIMP and watch your phone.
It's Sleeper. Everything we thought was bad is now good.
So, I mean, you know, it's...
Yeah. I'm being told we need to pause for station identification or to do a live read, so we'll take a moment to do that. And we've done it. Yes, it is sort of, you were unbelievably fortunate. I mean, when I was younger, being considerably older than you, we had just created fire.
And now everyone says, stop using the microwave and get back to fire.
That's right. Why won't you just use fire? How much of a Cardinals fan were you growing up? St. Louis, the baseball.
I was a big Cardinals fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Went to a lot of games. The '84 World Series happened like I was 10 years old. That's such like a time when you are interested in going to ball games with your family and stuff.
Was that a thing for the family to go?
It was a big deal. Yeah. For the whole city. I remember. I have
a little experience with the Cardinal organization because of Tony La Russa, much later than your experience. But I was introduced to the Sea of Red, the Ocean of Red, which are the fans sitting in that stadium.
Yeah.
Because really, there's nothing going on except for Budweiser and the Cardinals.
And the Blues, hockey.
Now, was that happening in '84? Did you grow up with the Blues? You couldn't have.
I grew up with the Blues because Wayne Gretzky played for the Blues for a year or something when I was a kid, and that was a big deal.
Let's go to the phone. I'd love to know what year that was.
All right.
Yeah.
But even the Blues couldn't really compete with
Nothing competes with
Busch
the Cardinals.
Stadium. I mean,
no.
Yeah.
No. What we never had was football.
Right.
Football never worked there.
Right.
The Cardinals left. The football Cardinals left to Arizona.
Right.
And then when I moved from St. Louis, they moved back and became the Rams. Or then we got the Rams, and now the Rams are here. It's like football in St. Louis, we never really...
Because I'm suggesting that baseball was just too damn powerful.
That's right.
I
think you're totally right.
ended up being at games 3, 4, and 5 in '06 when they beat the unbeatable Tigers to win the World Series.
Wow.
Because of Tony La Russa. We were developing this book at the time that he had co-authored. And pretty crazy.
The St. Louis Blues have been playing since 1967, and Gretzky played from 95 to 96.
Were they they couldn't have been part of the original? Whatever.
No, they're an expansion team.
Yeah. But even still, expansion team from 67?
67.
Wow. Your folks grew up with the Blues.
Yeah.
No, your folks were in Indiana.
No, they're from St. Louis originally. My dad was transferred to Indiana for a couple of years when they first got married.
Alrighty.
So that's why I was born there.
That's correct.
Yes. You have that down?
I
do. That's correct. I confirm. At
one point, your mom taught an acting class that you attended when you were 6.
Yes. I got the lead role, but it's not because she was my mom. It was because I was very good.
Yeah, let's be clear. You worked hard for that.
I really did.
As a 6-year-old.
Yeah. No, my mom was a history teacher. She taught 8th grade history my whole life, but she loved doing plays. She did plays at our church. She loved theater, and in the summers she taught a summer school acting class.
Wow.
When I was like 5 and 6 and 7 or something like that, and I took the class every year.
So what drew you? Just a child at play?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really.
Because so young at 6.
Yeah, I can't remember. Besides like a brief dabbling with the idea of being a veterinarian.
Just because you like bunnies?
Yeah, because I liked animals, and I like to rescue and save animals and stuff.
Which we'll get to.
We'll get to that.
Cat lady?
Yeah, that's right, exactly. But then I found out that veterinarians have to do surgery, and then I was like, I'm out.
By the way, I'm with you on that tap out.
Right. I thought I just made all the animals well by petting them and showing them love.
Yeah. Apparently, it's way more complicated.
An occasional injection. Fine.
Yeah.
I'll shove a pill down a cat's throat. Watch me.
Exactly.
But you're saying I cut them open? Yeah, no, we're done here.
Yeah, forget it. I'll just be an actress.
Yeah, I remember. I'm 6, I'll be an actress, I'm fine. I don't need to cut the frog open. I had a tough time cutting the frog open.
I kind of liked cutting the frog open.
Keep
Is that
talking.
weird?
No.
I thought it was a little fascinating, in biology class, to do the frog. And I, on principle, I said I didn't want to do it, but then I did, and I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting.
Was this before the Catholic all-girls school?
No, I think we did that in my Catholic girls' school biology
Yeah, so it's just
class.
nothing but young girls everywhere you look who are also cutting open frogs.
Yeah.
And a certain percentage are enjoying it and not.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So it was, but I thought it was kind of interesting, to see all the little organs and everything.
Was that the moment that Lisa Simpson became a vegetarian?
No, Lisa Simpson became a vegetarian because they went to the petting zoo.
Ah.
And there was a little lamb. And then later that night they were serving lamb chops, and she put it together and she didn't want to eat the lamb chops.
I remember that. The little lamb chop went into the leg
exactly.
of the lamb.
And then the food chain, which is just everything going into the human. Every animal. That's the food chain.
You don't honestly expect us to swallow that tripe.
Here, help yourself to some tripe.
We'll be here all week.
Any Simpsons references at all? We have them at the ready. Did you grow up with the Simpsons as well?
Oh yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
Big influence?
Yeah.
Must have been.
Well, it's so funny. I mean, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're 6
Yeah.
and you're earning the lead role, it's in what production?
Molly and the Slow Teeth.
I'm going to guess you were Molly.
I was Molly, and she really wanted to lose her teeth, but they weren't ready to come out. So she does all these things to try to lose a tooth so that the tooth fairy will come.
No, this is Neil Simon.
No, this sounds very familiar.
This was a
a
book.
children's book?
It was a
Yes.
children's book.
I believe,
Yeah.
I feel like
Molly and
this,
the Slow Teeth.
I feel like this book was read to my classes, as we were starting, our teeth were starting to fall, like how later on you get the talk. This is
Yeah.
the teeth talk.
It was a very popular book.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, and then the following year, we did a different play that was like a melodrama, like a damsel in distress with the train tracks and the evil guy and all that. And in that, I was just a townsperson. I did not have a lead role in that.
Did you audition for the gal who gets tied to the tracks?
I don't remember exactly how the roles got handed out.
Oh, I think you do. Now, are there any real thoughts while this is happening that, this might be something to do for life?
I really don't remember what or why I wanted to be an actor. It just sort of felt like what I was going to do.
Because for me, I was 9 or 10.
And you remember
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes. Because I started performing, lip syncing to a comedy album, and people loved it. And then it was like, oh, this is not something I bargained for. Because first I was just doing it on my own while listening to the comedy album. I would get up in front of the stereo and pretend I was the person doing it.
Yes.
Not even knowing what lip syncing was. I was just playing.
Uh-huh.
And then my mother caught me, literally, and said, you're doing that at the Zuckers for Thanksgiving.
And then you did it.
Yes, Passover, not Thanksgiving. More Jewish. And so then I performed in front of just relatives, and it went bananas. And then I started doing it at school, and then that was it.
That's so interesting.
So, I mean, by the time people signed my senior yearbook, I knew since the first time you did the thing, you're going to be yeah. So I'm always curious when someone's in a play at 5, 6, 7, is anything sticking in terms of?
No, what was interesting was I was very shy. So my sister at the family gathering would be the person who would get out a boombox and do a dance show.
Sure.
And I was always writing little plays for my sister and I to star in, or making little puppet shows, or I was always doing things, but I never really widened my audience bigger than my mom and dad.
Okay.
I would get sort of a stage fright if it was the whole extended family. And my sister was the performer. If you asked anyone in our extended family who's most likely to go on to be a performer, they would have said my sister Emily, because she was way more outgoing, just confident and all that, and I was way more shy.
And how is she when you start applying yourself later as a professional actress
She's great. I mean, she never
became a teacher also?
She's a teacher. She
Right.
never even wanted to do that. If you asked her what she wanted to be when she grew up, she would say a mom and a teacher.
Yeah.
So and she's a mom and a teacher.
Success.
Yeah. So
So she's thrilled for you.
yeah.
You brought on the family tradition.
Oh yeah. No, she's totally happy. Totally
Yeah.
happy. We have a really she's like one of my best friends.
Wow. I can't even imagine that.
Yeah. We have there's nothing.
And she lives in
She lives in St. Louis.
in Missouri.
Yep, with
Yeah.
her 2 kids and her.
What does she teach?
She teaches 3rd grade. 3rd grade.
Right. It's a great age. Isn't that the age you a lot of times are volunteering for? 3rd, 4th grade?
Yeah, for 2nd and 3rd grade.
Yeah. 826.
Those are the kids I like.
Yeah.
When they're the younger kids.
You know this program 826LA where they're teaching after school creative.
We teach creative writing to grade school kids and also after school tutoring too.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Programs that no longer exist in public schools.
I know that
Yeah.
that have to be. They're like a supplemented program now.
Yeah.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yes.
A lot of the arts and things are just not part of the regular curriculum anymore.
Yeah. And now they have to make Wonder Woman movies so kids know what Wonder Woman is.
That's right.
Because this is gone.
This is gone.
That's not happening.
No.
Aha. So when does the decision start to formulate in terms of I'm going to be a professional actress?
It was sometime in high school. I remember thinking this is what I want to do. And I should say that again, no one would have pegged me for success.
Nope.
I didn't have
She's shy.
I had none of the lead roles in anything. Every year my school did a musical, and I'm not much of a singer, so I wasn't going to get a big part.
Right.
I was in the dance chorus because I did take dance in high school. And now the one year that we did a straight play, we did a comedy, I got one of the 4 lead roles. That's the only time that I had a big part in any high school production. And even in college, when I went to college and I majored in theater, I never had a lead role in a single main stage production. I could get a great role in one of the lab productions or one of the student run productions, and I actually think that was my best preparation for coming out here and trying to make my own way, was that the only way I was going to get to work was if I banded together 8 other students and we were you know what we're going to do? We're going to take Schoolhouse Rock and we're going to turn it into a stage musical. Let's do it. Or you know what we should do? Let's do a production of Godspell. Or let's do Cabaret. These are all things that student productions, or they were called lab productions. That was how I got to work.
Right.
And that was the best training for trying to make it as an actor, because when you don't come out and people just give you lead roles,
No.
it doesn't work like that. And so my college educated me very well by not casting me in anything.
Yeah. It forces you to be diverse and proactive.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we talk about your new book, which we're about to do,
Oh, great.
we have a segment on the show called Famous Questions. These are questions that themselves are not famous, but they're in fact written by famous people,
Oh.
specifically to you.
Oh, to me.
Yep.
Oh.
The first one comes from your bestie, Angela Kinsey, former guest of the
Oh
show.
my gosh.
Former guest of the show.
Okay.
When was the last time you danced? I mean on a dance floor, rocking out.
At her wedding.
That was the last time?
At her recent wedding.
That's correct.
Oh, that's right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't know she gave answers. Yeah, at her wedding.
Okay, next question is from Fred Savage.
Oh, I love Fred Savage so much.
Who doesn't?
Is the question, Jenna, when can we work together again? And my answer is whenever you want, Fred Savage.
Well, I will certainly pass that along.
Okay.
Yeah. Which was the more daunting acting challenge?
Okay.
Pretending you don't want to spend the rest of your life with Rob Lowe. This is from the episode of Grindr.
Yes.
Or my pretending to share any genetic traits with Rob Lowe.
Because he plays his brother.
Yes.
That's a very, very funny question.
Yeah.
They were both so equally difficult. I really don't know.
Did you know Rob Pryor?
I did.
Yeah.
I weirdly, the movie that I got my SAG card on, Rob Lowe was the star of. I had 3 lines in a Rob Lowe movie called The Specials, And the way that I even got in that movie was because I auditioned to do some staged readings of that film script so that they could get financing, and Rob Lowe did the readings. He was attached, and I read with him. I read the lead girl opposite him. And so I've known him since then, and he was really nice to me, and he was like, oh, I hope you can play this part when we get our financing. And I was like, me too, Rob Lowe. I think I should as well. And then, of course, they got their financing, and then they cast someone who they felt had more name value than me.
Which was?
Jordan Ladd. She got the role.
Jordan
she did a good job.
Jordan Ladd, who we now know from
Club Dread.
That's right.
She was
Sammy?
really good
Club
in the
Dread.
movie. She was very good in the film. But anyway, that was heartbreaking. But as the sort of consolation prize, I got 3 lines in that movie, but it got me my SAG card. But you know, that's at a time when I was like telling everybody at home, like, you guys, pretty soon I'm going to be starring in this movie with Rob Lowe because I'm doing the readings of it. And he said he'd like me to play the part, so probably that's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to have a lot of time later because of all the things that are going to happen in my life as a result of this big get. And then
your family back home immediately arranges a parade.
That's right. Everyone's very excited, and then I end up with 3 lines. But I got my SAG card. It was a big deal.
Yeah, of course.
And then I did a series with him in London after The Office ended. I did a television series in London with him and Megan Mullally. We were the 3 Americans.
What?
Yeah, we did this crazy television series.
A British show for the BBC or like something?
It was for Sky One.
Sure.
It was this huge show about the apocalypse, and Rob Lowe played this priest at the Vatican because they all look like him. That's like a little known fact.
That would be reverse. Yes, a priest being attacked. That's
right, exactly. That's right. They had a different
molestation
problem.
of the priest. Gotcha.
And so we were in London at the same time, but we didn't have any scenes together. So we have been in 3 things. We've been in things where we never actually worked together until The Grinder.
Potential fiance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was like one of my favorite days ever, getting to be on that show. That show's brilliant, and I'm very upset that it's not on the air anymore. And also, Fred Savage is like, we need to see more of him all the time, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he's on some new show that's When We Were Teenagers or something.
Friends from College.
There we
Friends
go.
From
College.
It's a streaming show, I think. What?
Let's just take a moment for me thinking it was called When We Were Teenagers. And it's actually called Friends from College.
Oh.
I once again missed it by 6 feet.
Yeah, that's what you do, Skylord.
I became Homer Simpson like that.
Yeah. I keep a list.
But he's directing his ass off. He's got a deal over at Fox, which is where I ran into him last, and you know, he directed all those. A
lot of Always Sunny.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and a bunch of other things too. He's kicking ass on the directing.
And Mary Elizabeth Ellis was on that show too, and she is like one of the funniest women.
Oh wow!
So
yeah.
I need to say that because it was just it was an awesome experience.
Your next famous question is from Bob Odenkirk.
Oh, okay. What's he gonna ask me?
Who you worked with on, what was the thing that I saw somewhere in the
Brother Solomon?
That's it.
Yeah.
What's the hardest part about doing a magic act?
Oh my gosh.
Uh-huh.
One of the few people who know that because he's known me for so long. Yes, Bob Odenkirk. It's a very interesting story.
That's right.
So back in my struggling actress days, to keep myself sane, I did a silent comedic magic show at comedy clubs.
A comedy magic club down in Hermosa Beach, for example?
No, that was my goal. That was my goal.
Didn't quite get
to get there.
Right.
I didn't get there because I gave up because I got heckled and it broke me and I never did my act again. But I did it for like 7 months. It's an amazing act.
You did it?
I did it for 7 months in comedy clubs.
You did it 7 months without being heckled, clearly.
Yes, people loved it. And then one night I got heckled and it broke. I couldn't take it. Because so here was the thing.
Yes.
My friend did this really funny bit. He did magic tricks using only his hands at a party. And it was a really funny, we were all laughing so hard and we were like, oh my God, that's so funny. And I'm like, dude, that should be a bit. Like,
How
that's
does
funny.
only his hands work?
Do you want me to do one of the tricks for you?
Yes.
Okay, this is not going to be interesting to the people who
camera.
Are only...
Do we need to focus on just your hands?
I mean, you can, but I have to...
Yeah, warm up a little.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to pick which one I want to do. All right, here it is. All right, you ready?
Yes.
So obviously, nothing on my sleeves. Don't have any sleeves on, so. Okay, are you ready? Oh, I messed it up. I messed it up. I'm not a very
It's
good
been a
magician.
while.
You've got it. Hold on.
It's been
hold
a
on.
while.
Rusty,
You're a
she's
little
rusty. Give her
rusty.
Okay. Thanks.
better there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And there's more. Okay,
I
there's
can't
5
believe
more.
you got heckled.
There's 5 more.
I can't believe you did that for 7 months.
We did it for 7 months. You guys, it was very
Thank you, Jenny.
elaborate, but I had a really
Would you
great.
have like white gloves on and things?
Oh, I was in a full tuxedo. I got a tuxedo from like a vintage shop. I played music. It was all to music. I had like a sign where I asked somebody like pick a number 1 through 5, and they would write it
This
on a
was
board.
pantomime.
Yeah,
No
and
talking.
no talking. And then I would like pull their number out of a lemon. You know, like I would cut open a lemon and then I would like pull it out. You know, it was amazing. It was a really good show.
Pick a number 1 to 5,
Yeah,
and you would
and
pull
then
it
I
on
would
your
pull
hand.
it out of the lemon.
It's kind of nice.
It's clever.
Yes.
It was good.
Yeah.
So it was a big hit, and I learned a lot about how these comedy clubs work, which is like at my level, at the beginner level, like you get a slot if you show up with a bunch of people, right,
Right.
who buy tickets.
So where were you actually performing this?
I don't know, like around West Hollywood and
Sure.
stuff. I'm sure they have names, but
So not actual comedy clubs, or yes, comedy clubs?
Yeah,
like Laugh
they're-
Factory and Sunset and
No.
Crescent Heights? No.
no. What do you do before you get to Laugh Factory? Something.
Busking on the street?
I don't know.
The
I don't know.
ha-ha hole, you know.
You know, there's like open mic nights
Yeah.
at
Open mic
places
nights.
and
Swingers. The
stuff.
Ha Ha Hole is a fictitious comedy
The Ha Ha
club
Cafe is a
from
real one.
Swingers.
But there's places that
Yeah,
are
open
like
mic night.
that only feature comedians, you
Sure,
know,
sure.
and then like it's not like I'm gonna do a comedic monologue, I'm gonna do poetry, and I'm gonna play my guitar. It was like all comedy, and there were like really funny people, and then you know they would get scouted and they would move on. And
So
I wasn't moving on.
Odenkirk knew this about you.
Odenkirk came. He came to see me do my comedic magic show. But then one night, I showed up at a club and I didn't have any guests. So the booker was like, well, you can go at the end if you want. And he put me up second to last. And then, you know, people watch their friend perform and then they leave. So there were like 7 people left. And I walk up and I've got like my boombox and my whiteboard and walking up in my tuxedo and someone goes, oh great, prop comedy. And I was like, oh.
Oh,
So I sort of like walk up there,
fatal blow.
crickets, no one, you know, and then someone like at the end does this.
Single clap.
It was just like
No,
it was like
that's a
such like
sarcastic clap.
like an
Sarcastic.
aggressive, sarcastic clap.
That's a sarcastic
And I was
clap.
like, okay, I'm just a young girl trying to make it, but thanks, I'll go home and cry now. And then, but you know what? I've saved all of my things since then.
The tuxedo.
In my closet, I have it. Every time I go through my closet, I won't get rid of it.
That's so
I'm
great.
like, I feel like one day I'll dust it off. I still have the cassette tape of the music.
I'm going to book this very venue,
Fill it.
a night in October, and you're going to come do this.
I'd do it.
I'll be on the bill.
I would
We'll
do
fill
it.
out the bill.
I would
How
do
long
it.
is the show?
Oh, it's like 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
You only get 5 minutes.
Do you want to open it or close it or go on in the middle? Think about it.
I don't know.
All right, next question is from your old pal Bobby Farrelly. Yes, the Hall Pass.
I love Bobby. That
Jen?
sounded so Hollywood of me. I love Bobby,
But everyone loves Bobby.
but I do.
Peter was on the show. We haven't had Bobby on. Jenna played her part beautifully for us in Hall Pass. She's such a lovely soul. Ask her if she's been back to spank the planks at Johnny's Hideaway in Atlanta. We used to go there with her and Christina Applegate on the weekends and dance until our bunions throbbed.
So true.
A lot of fun.
Such good memories. We did. Like one of the things, so doing like a Farrelly Brothers movie
Yes.
is everything you think making a movie is
Should
when
be
you're
fun.
living in Missouri dreaming about doing movies. It's fun the whole time. People are cracking up. It's easygoing. no one's stressed out, and everybody parties together.
Yeah.
Like, it's exactly your fantasy of what a movie set is like. Just camaraderie and jokes and like bits and awesomeness.
Yeah.
Pranks, all of it.
Just easy and fun.
Easy and fun.
Yeah.
And those guys are fun. And then it extends, and it's everybody. It's not like, oh, just the stars of the movie hang out.
Right.
It's like, you know, go into the hideaway and like bumping hips with like whoever isn't the boom operator. You know what? It's like whoever wants to hang out gets to hang out.
That
So
movie
great.
that's a fun movie, and it has a really great cast too. Like, so
Oh yeah.
yeah,
It was really fun.
I remember I was surprised how much I really enjoyed it whenever I saw it. I like it.
I remember you saying that actually.
Yeah, I was like, you know what was? I was like, you know what I watched? It was really good. Hall Pass.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sometimes those movies when you see the trailer look like
Yeah, it just looked like
typical
another
studio comedy that's not
like super
necessarily.
It looked super raunchy, but it wasn't. Like it was really smart the way they.
Do you know
they
what movie
made
I had that experience with recently? Vacation. The
Oh,
remake
no.
of Vacation. I
Oh,
felt like the
geez.
way they advertised that movie
I gotta go.
versus seeing
off
the
the
movie, I really liked the movie, but the ad campaign made me think I wouldn't have liked it.
Do you know what my favorite part of that movie is?
What is it?
The deleted scenes.
Oh,
Because you're in one.
I thought it was really good.
Oh, let's talk immediately now,
gloss right over it.
please, about the book.
Yes.
So, how does the book? What's the genesis story? What's the name of the book? How can where
Sure.
can
So
people find it?
I wrote this book. It's called The Actor's Life: A Survival Guide. And after I got cast on The Office and it was starting to take off, I was getting a lot. I was on MySpace. Remember MySpace, everybody?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Remember that website? Okay. I would get a lot of questions.
I'm still on it technically.
Are you on? Do you? We'll chat on MySpace later.
Is that what we did? We
You-
chatted on.
Did you chat on MySpace?
Yes,
Did you chat
yes,
on it?
yes.
Okay. I would put up blog posts and things, and I would get a lot of questions from people saying, like, how'd you get your audition for The Office? Like, how did you do that? As if I had one audition and it was for The Office, and then I like got on. But more than that, it was like, how'd you become an actor? Like, tell me your story, because you're on this great show and
Yeah.
I've never heard of you. So how'd that happen?
Right.
So I sat down and I spent about 3 or 4 months writing a blog post kind of about like what it took for me to become an actor
Right.
and to be a working actor. And I posted it, and that blog is still getting handed out to people.
Yes.
Like there's teachers at NYU who print it out and hand it to their students as like, here's a real dose of what it means to be an actor, a working actor.
Yes.
And even like when I go to New York especially, half the time people stop me on the street, it's to tell me, I read your blog post and thank you so much for all the stuff you said. I sent it to my mom so that she could better understand me and what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah.
So it was just this, and I thought that blog post should be a whole book.
Yeah.
Because that was like however many paragraphs on it. It was like a pretty long blog post, but like I could fill a book, just the book of that.
And also the amount of interest that came your way from those posts.
Yes. And also, over the years, I go to acting classes or speak to acting students, and I basically just go and I say, ask me any question, and I'll answer it. And then I started tape recording those lectures and had them transcribed, and then I used those things for the books. Because I wanted the book to really be for, and it is a book, for aspiring actors or struggling actors or artists.
Survival guide.
Yeah, a survival guide. And of stories that hopefully they can relate to, so that they know that the struggle and everything doesn't mean that they're failing. It just means that they're waiting.
That's part of the process.
That's part of the process.
Yeah, it's
That's part of the artistic life.
Yeah.
And so the book, I love aspiring actors and artists, and they have so few cheerleaders. So many people just beat you down. And I just wanted to be a different voice for them.
That's pretty
who the book
spectacular.
is for. But it's also for anybody who's like kind of just curious about what it's really like. And I also think it's a really good book, like if you are an aspiring actor, like make your parents read it so that they aren't as annoying at the holidays.
Make your parents read it, get them off your back.
Exactly. Just be like, yes, getting a second call back for something, but I didn't get the job was a big deal. Stop asking me when you're going to see me on TV.
Yeah.
Okay?
And
Because you're killing my soul right now.
also-
You're crushing my life.
And also, yes, I am coming home for Christmas, but you need to read this book before I get there.
That's right. And you're probably going to have to pay for my ticket. And this
Okay,
book
so
will
there we
explain
have
why.
it. Honestly, just to break away for a moment, to tell you folks, buy this book, give it to your folks as a Christmas gift. It's the holiday season, for goodness sake.
I mean, seriously.
It is.
Go on Amazon.
Amazon's selling it.
Immediately and pre-order, buy this book, whatever state it's in when this airs. And at very least, read it yourself, but also send a copy to your family immediately to shut them the hell up.
You can read the story in there of how for 2 weeks I was accidentally a high-priced call girl. I didn't turn any tricks, but I did work for a high-priced call girl ring on accident for 2 weeks.
I'm glad we got to that because I wasn't sure how to broach that subject.
Yeah, that was a crazy
You thought it was an acting gig.
I thought that I was the 5th member of the International Spice Girls.
You know what?
Because-
Don't say anything more. That's like the greatest tease in history.
Yeah.
No. So you answered a sort of open call for what you thought would be maybe a touring International Spice Girls act.
Yeah. And I can't sing, but, neither can Madonna really, and she's Madonna, right? So I was like, clearly it's just about charisma and if you want it enough. So I went and auditioned for the International Spice Girls, and I got the role.
And back then, you auditioned for everything
Yeah.
that you think you'd remotely right for.
Anything at all.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know what direction this is gonna take me in, but this will
Damn it, let's find out.
Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Who cares that the audition was in the guy's apartment?
Well-
Who cares that there's girls walking around in lingerie? Who am I to question that?
They're Spice Girls.
They're Spice Girls. They're spicy.
When was the last time you saw a Spice Girl fully dressed? It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. You always advertise for international singing pop groups in the back of a weekly paper that you give away for free. That is absolutely how these casting happen. So
Oh my God.
You
could have been killed.
I could have died. I was so close to death. These are all things you should never do. But
I'm so glad you put this in the book, by the way.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. Listen, there were things I didn't put in the book. I've been to auditions where I went to a crazy audition at an apartment where it was for a B movie.
So I'm sorry. So you went to more than one?
More than one apartment for an audition.
Because I would think just the one would be all the heads up you'd need.
And it was super creepy, and I left, but just don't go to people's apartments for auditions. That is not where legit auditions happen.
Right.
Everyone.
Also a great secondary title for the book.
That's right. But no, so then I was in the Spice Girls, and I had a song that I had to learn. It was a cool song about a truck stop. I was the America girl, and I was the country girl, and I would go to this guy's apartment, and I would work on my song, and I'd be like, when am I going to rehearse with the group? Do we have dance moves we have to do in unison or something? I took it very seriously.
And
I'm sure this guy was did not know what to do with me, right? He's
But that's what I'm trying to figure out.
When are you going to clue in, girl?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah,
is
he
how,
must have been so
how subtly or eventually overtly is he saying, yeah, I need you to...
Yeah. So eventually, in the 2 weeks, he sits me down and he's like, so Jenna, in addition to being in this group, I really want to manage your acting career. And to do so, I'm going to need you to get new headshots. And I'm like, I know, my headshots are not good. I know, absolutely, yeah, I'll get new headshots. I'm so earnest. This guy's like, oh my God, made a huge mistake.
No, you're falling right into his web, actually.
So he's like, so we'll get regular headshots, but then we're going to need to get some nudes as well. We're going to need nude shots of you. And I'm like, why? And he says, well, what if I send you out for a role that requires nudity? You don't want to have to take off all your clothes in the casting director's office.
He's not wrong, by the way.
No, that part, he's correct. You should never take off all your clothes in the casting director's office.
Is that in the book?
That's in the book.
That should be in the book, too.
That should be in the book as well. He's like, no, you just hand them a picture of you.
They're done.
And now they can see
It
your
was
body.
a controlled environment.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to want to go on any roles that require nudity, so I don't think I need those pictures. And he's like, well, maybe some pictures of just you in a bikini or something. He's like, I'll take them to make you more comfortable.
That's right, as your manager.
Oh, thank you so much.
As your manager, right.
You creepy man.
Right.
Take my pictures.
There also might be some roles where you'll have to have sex.
Right, so we're going to want to simulate that in some way for your reel. No, he didn't say that. But anyway, so then I'm like,
how does this ever work?
It does. I guess it works. I think, look at how blinded I was by my own ambition that I overlooked all of these dangerous warning signs.
Did you have any dust on your pants from the turnip truck when you walked into his?
Exactly. I know, right? I know, ridiculous. And then after that, so now I won't take nude pictures. So now I'm sure the guy's like, what can I, this girl is infuriating. But I'm so positive. I'm like, that's okay. You know, I'm fine if I miss out on those opportunities. And he was like, okay, well, your first gig is coming up on Friday. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't feel ready. I haven't rehearsed with the other girls. I mean, I haven't even met the other girls yet. And he's like, no, it's a solo show. It's a solo show. It'll be for a group of traveling Japanese businessmen.
No!
I'm not making it up.
This doesn't really happen.
I'm not making it up. It's the truth. It's the truth.
You said the words traveling Japanese businessmen. You can't even put that in a script.
You can't.
It's the first note you're going to get. That's not a thing.
That's too generic. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Traveling?
Two on the nose.
Not even from out of town? No, it says traveling Japanese businessmen.
And I was like, And he's like, you'll just do your song. I'm like, okay. It was like a short show. Like one song. All right.
I made later you were doing a 5-minute magic act.
I was. It's true. I'm like, I can do that for you if you want. Do you think they'd like that? I have a
Close.
Because I've got a tux in my closet. It's different. It's a little different. So I'm like, okay. And I was like, huh? And he was like, and you know, after the show, you might consider,
if you're of mine,
providing these gentlemen with a little companionship. Just as much as you're comfortable with. But, you know, obviously the more you do, the more you'll be paid.
Sure.
And you can talk to some of the other girls because they make a lot of money this way. And, you know, and then you can invest that money in your look. That was the other thing. He was like, you can get better outfits, we can get your hair done, you know, and it all feeds into a cycle of success, you know. And I was like, and that was when finally I was like, oh, I get it. We're not going on tour.
We're not going on tour.
I got it. That's when I finally got it. He had to like literally tell me what it was for me to get it. He's like, here's the thing. The penis and the vagina will meet.
And if they do, you'll get paid more money.
You get paid more.
Yeah. If they don't meet, less money.
That's right. Exactly.
Okay.
Like,
Cut to, he's got a diagram and
he's like, And I'm like, say it again. I don't get it.
A pointer. This is your area. I need this to go in there.
Huh?
And then dollar signs. He just keeps circling dollar signs.
But when am I going to learn my harmonies?
Yeah, that's on your time. I need you on your special time to learn your harmonies. I'm so excited about the book, and also thanks for sharing the process of how you sort of culled all this information in terms of putting a book together, because it's an unbelievably daunting task. And we've had several people on talk about various versions. And so it's nice. I remember I had laid off from stand-up for many, many years, and the idea of going back to it, the daunting part was putting together a new hour, which I've been doing since. But what I realized was in those 10 years that I took off, I'd done 30, 40 talk show appearances, wherein I had to come up with stories for each one of them.
Yeah.
And I realized when I went back to those notes, I have 40 minutes of a stand-up act.
Exactly, right? Like that was a thing, that like you have more material than you think you have. Like even like in emails or something that I had like written my mom telling her a story about something that happened, you know, go to the sent mail and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I remember that audition, or diaries that I kept.
The blog you were doing way ahead of your time, if I may, if it were during the days of MySpace.
We really were. I actually have to say, I think it contributed to the success of the show. Like the bunch of us that were reaching out to fans so personally and immediately when the show came out, we were so appreciative that anybody was watching us. Yeah. And like we made those personal connections really early on.
Give us the advice that Ricky Gervais on the pilot.
Oh, yeah. So that was thrilling. I mean, I remember when we got to come in on working on the pilot the day that Ricky Gervais came in, and I thought, if nothing happens with this show, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened in my life, is that I got to just be with that man in his presence. 100%. I was such a huge fan. And he sat us down and he was like, here's my advice for the American version. He's like, you need Michael Scott to be good at his job. He's like, David Brent was not good at his job. And in my country, you can be not good at your job and keep your job. He's like, but in America, you have to be relatively good at your job, or people will be frustrated with why you're not being fired. So he was like,
interesting.
He can have this annoying personality, and you can wonder how he's doing, but you have to see him make the sale. And that was like, there's a great episode that we have actually where he goes to Chili's with like a prospective like sale, right? And his boss above him, Jan, is like doing a hard sell. Is like, so how many boxes of paper do you think you'll? And Michael's like, baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby. Like he's just like singing about and she's like finding him so annoying. He's like, another round of drinks, and he's just like getting the guy to laugh and all this stuff, and keeps thwarting any attempt by her to make this like a business dinner. And then by the end, the guy gives them their business because Michael had fun.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, he's actually kind of a sales genius.
Right.
Right? So that was because that was Ricky Gervais' note.
It's quite a heads up.
Yeah.
Because my experience is more from show business where people are failing upwards all the time. Worthless, horribly untalented art executives. But still, you don't have to be good at your job in that sense.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's not true of non-show business.
I think that was kind of his point.
Yeah, this is a paper place.
Yeah. And like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was
David
such
Brent
a good
was
insight.
horrible and worthless.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Exactly.
He was just middle management. We don't know how the fuck he kept that job.
No, it was just because you can be bad at your job and keep your job.
Apparently.
Like culturally, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
That, according to Ricky Gervais.
Yeah. No, we've proven it here on a weekly basis.
And then Stephen Merchant, the co-creator, he came in and he was like, Jim and Pam are your bread and butter. He was like, he's like, you just have to donate like 3 minutes of every episode to that. It shouldn't be your A story. It shouldn't be everything. But like, don't
ever forget
people will come for the comedy and they'll stay for the romance.
For the relationship, yeah. Great note.
Yeah.
Love that show.
And then Steven came and like directed a bunch of episodes too.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
We love Steven.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing.
We tried to fix him up on a date.
No.
You did? How'd it go?
No.
He was in Hall Pass?
We went to Mastro's.
It wasn't a date though. It was just to even out because it was like us and then him. And I was like, I brought a girlfriend because I was just because it was weird it being like a couple and then him. It wasn't a date.
You didn't want him to be a third wheel.
Yes, I didn't want him to be a third wheel. It wasn't a date.
You know, I go out with the two of you guys and you never invite any
all right, so that's the show for today. I'm afraid we're all out of time. I want to thank you. Yes, please.
Love this movie is brilliant. I saw it in theaters and it comes up on cable line. I always watch it. Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes.
It's great, right, everybody?
It's so great.
It's so good.
It's so good.
If you have any sensibilities in comedy, if you have any sophisticated appreciation of comedy,
and music too, like the fact that he goes to like each decade of music. I mean, this is like obviously like it's a parody of Walk the Line, but it's also Great Balls of Fire. He hangs out with the Beatles at one point. It's a parody of like Brian Wilson when he goes crazy.
Yeah,
like,
and also Forrest Gump. I mean, it's all in there.
It's everything.
It's all in there.
And one of the very last things that Harold Ramis was in, which is amazing. I don't think you ever had any scenes with him, but. Or if you got to meet him.
I didn't, but Harold Ramis directed an episode of The Office on Groundhog Day. I worked with Harold Ramis on Groundhog Day.
Oh,
that's amazing.
My!
Yeah.
Why didn't that come up in the research? We would have talked about that for an hour.
I know. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah. Sweet.
We had Oscar. Actually, we had Oscar Nunez on the show, and he did. I don't think he mentioned that fact, but he did mention working with Harold.
Yeah.
But yes, Walk Hard is amazing.
Thank you. I'm really proud of Walk Hard. It's one of the things I'm most proud of, actually, and that movie really holds up.
Absolutely.
And people didn't see it in the theaters, but it has a huge cult following, especially with musicians. And I don't know a lot about music, but I have like famous musicians come up to me all the time, and they're like, "We love Walk Hard." And I'm
we had Billy Bob Thornton here, and he was about to go on tour with his band, and he talked about it briefly.
I met him at a baseball all-star game. And we talked about Walk Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which
he
is
loved-
crazy to me that Billy Bob Thornton knows who I am at all,
Well,
or
he's
that
also-
he also loved Walk Hard. Huge fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
St. Louis Cardinals, he grew up loving them too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, look at us putting so many things together here.
And
at
so
the end.
wonderfully done. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for leaving behind the little kids, driving to the other side of town to spend some of your Sunday with us.
My pleasure.
You may return to your New York Times.
Oh, thank you.
There's one last thing we need from you.
What is it?
We like to end the show with something we call the Larry King game. It's really simple and it's really super fun. You
Okay.
can teach it to your kids. It's that fun.
All right.
You'll have to show them what Larry King on CNN looked like,
Okay.
because they may not be familiar with
All
that.
right.
But hopefully you are.
All right.
So there was a moment that right before Larry would go to the phones,
Yes.
he would stare down the barrel of the camera and he would speak painfully sincerely and share something about himself or his tastes or his likes and dislikes, King's things.
Okay.
And then he would go to the phone. So to play the Larry King game, you have to reenact that moment. So I need a bad Larry King impression. All the pressure's off to do a good one.
Oh my
I need a
gosh.
bad one.
You'll get it.
No, but seriously, bad ones make me laugh way harder than
Okay.
someone trying to do Larry King.
Okay.
So give me anything
Okay.
for Larry's voice.
It's not going to look like him at all.
Good.
I don't even know how to do his voice.
Thank you.
It's going to be my voice.
Perfect.
Okay.
The second thing is you stare down the barrel of your camera.
Okay.
And you know you're about to go to the phone. And
Okay.
you look up for a moment and you share something. You like Oreo cookies, whatever it is. Larry would just share meaningless things.
Okay.
Okay, and then after you get done doing that, you actually go to the phones and call out the name of the city that you're, Missoula,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
When you're ready, there's your camera.
Oh, wow.
This is how you play the Larry
so much
King game.
pressure.
It is.
I have to think of something to say.
Or nothing.
I'm going to say what popped in my head.
Do it.
All right.
Always best.
Here we are.
Can't lose.
All right. So I'm going to go to the phones, but before I do, I just want to say that recently my life has been changed by doing acts of service. And I've come to this realization late in my life, but I'd like to encourage everyone to give it a try because it's really been good for me. And now we're going to Webster Groves, Missouri. Hello.
Act of service, everyone, from the heart.
Thank you. That's what I thought of.
Bless you.
The softer side of Larry.
The softer side of Larry. Now sit there and comfortably, if you wouldn't mind, please, Jenna, while I wrap things up for the folks at home and around the
I would
planet
love
as
to.
we know it. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Just lovely. Don't
I'm
forget.
going to do the next one too.
Yep.
Sorry.
We'll do a twofer. On the next one, bring down the extra microphone. All right, there's your Jenna Fischer right there, ladies and Jews. That's how that happens and what it looks like. The name of her book, again, An Actor's Life, a Survival's Guide?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's good enough.
Got that mostly right. Go to your Amazon, go to your remaining bookstores throughout the land and get
He'll come
yourself
up
a
with his
copy.
own title anyway. Don't worry
It's
about
fine.
it.
Yes, they were the Beach Men. Nope. Thanks, Jamie and Sammy, as always, for doing a lovely job. Jaden
Sure.
Fox on your makeup. We got Dr. Evil Kenny Chen on the floor directing things, and Ryan Noble up there, and sitting in for J-Mac, finally, thankfully, Mr. Rune Kincaid. And there's Luke Allen up there as well, helping out in every which way. There he is over there. Actually, unafraid to go under a giant ladder. Still can't do it myself.
I didn't even know he was back. I was
Can't
looking
do
for
it.
him earlier.
Really?
Yep. And Corey Levin on post. That's our show today. Thanks again very much for tuning in. And as always, get out of my face.